guys, hello and welcome to the first episode in my God Build series. But before we can get on to the God Build series, I thought that I might do something different and get you guys up to speed, especially if you're starting new in Warframe. I felt like this would be the appropriate beginning to my channel, to just go ahead and show you guys how to be a god as quickly as possible right out the starting gate. Now, I'm hopefully going to try to get this video uploaded by the end of tonight, because today is my birthday, my 27th birthday. But with editing aside and everything, I might not make it until September 20th. So, at any rate, you guys don't care about any of that. Let's move on. It really doesn't matter what Warframe you tend to start with. You'll have the choice between Volt, Excal, or Mag. In my personal experiences playing through, Mag has been the most useless. And if you're a Mag fan, I'm sorry. It's just, she used to be really useful back when Greedy pulled for your entire team. It's an augment mod. But now it's more so a case of she's just hogging everything for herself and really not helping anybody at all. So if you are wanting to play Mag specifically because she's a female, just wait until later on in the game, because there's plenty of female characters that even trump that of male characters like Valkyr and Mesa, Nova. There's plenty of them that you're just gonna fall in love with. Another thing that I would add is that back when I first started playing 2.5 years ago, it was a choice between Excalibur, Mag, and Loki. And Loki swang more on the defensive angle and things, while as Excal was offense all day. And he wasn't as good offensively as he is now. So I would personally recommend Excal because he puts out probably the highest DPS in the game still on a linear standing. A lot of you are going to argue that Nyx will do this because she has no max damage output cap. But it acquires a lot of damage intake and a lot of power consumption in order to do that. And Mesa is more of a radial range in a sphere, and she also experiences heavy damage fall off. So in the long run, Excal is gonna last you. Excal should be the Warframe that you never get rid of, whereas Volt, it's just a matter of whether you personally like him or you don't. But you can build him regardless. He's going to be one of the fastest Warframes in the game, that's a given. So, when you get started and you do your tutorial, you're going to have a couple of choices that you don't realize it at the time. You just think that you're just picking up guns and arming yourself for the mission, but it's critical that you choose the gun or weapon, whatever, that you want to wield throughout the rest of your gameplay experience early on. You're going to face with the choice of a Mark 1 Paris or a Mark 1 Braton. Just note that whatever weapon you pick up off the table is the weapon that you're going to keep throughout all your early gameplay experience. It really doesn't matter, because as soon as you go and you have all of your components in your ship installed, the segments, you're just going to worry about a few things, and none of that is things that you want to worry about early on. It'll teach you the basic missions such as spy, exterminate, interception, but other than that, it's just playing the game. So early on, you want to navigate through all these missions that it kind of forces you to do anyway, and then through most of your low mastery, you're just going to want to explore the planets, do all the missions on them as well as you can. Now, I mentioned mastery. That happens to be when you click start on your controller or escape on the keyboard. It happens to be the number that's right beside your name. In your case, it's going to be 0. But how mastery works in this game is everything levels up to the max level of 30. And now it's not a ridiculous max cap because they don't want you to stay 30. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to explain. You are going to stay 30 as long as you have all the forma put into your Warframe, or all your reactors, your catalysts, whatever. You're going to stay 30, especially if you're comfortable with your build. But when you get new Warframes, new weapons, you rank up all the way to 30. Now the first time you rank up to 30, that is it. That's all the mastery you are going to get for that given weapon, for that given Warframe. So this game just really amounts down to 50% builds and 50% skill. If you have a decent background with like Call of Duty, Halo, Battlefield, Gears of War, you bring that shooter experience to this game, and then you bring RPG elements which require you to build things, craft things, and that's all this game really offers. So when you're back at your ship, you're gonna go over to your codex. No, you're not gonna have this right away, but you'll see whenever you get a weapon completed, you're gonna get one of these symbols. And that's basically going to confirm that you've gotten the maximum amount of mastery for that given weapon or that given Warframe. Same thing with companions. You get a maximum amount of mastery. Now, one thing you need to note here is that a lot of these weapons are just going to be mastery cannon fodder. That's all they're intended for. And when I say mastery cannon fodder, I mean, let's just go over to the market here real quick. Now you can see that with my normal account, all of these weapons are unlocked. But if we hop onto the new account, we see that these are XP locked, meaning that all the ones that aren't XP locked are mostly just mastery cannon fodder, mostly just weapons that you're going to buy, level up to rank 30, and then throw away. And then when you recognize what weapons are in-game material, you're going to hang on to them, and you're going to start cranking formas, catalysts, all kinds of leveled up mods. So let's get into modding in this game. So you have a reach. And clearly this thing can be leveled up. You can tell by the number of ticks at the bottom. It's got 3 ticks. And it can be leveled up. See, here we have a maxed out reach. You can tell by the ticks that were previously darkened, they're now lit up. So how this works is when you go to fuse something, we put it up in the fusion thing, and once it's up in the fusion slot, now everything else that we select is going to be consumed by the one that's up in the fusion slot. And the more we put in, the more these ticks come up. You see the progress just moving up. Now we've got another tick, and it keeps leveling up. But as it keeps leveling up, the one thing to note here is that these numbers at the top right of the mod are also going up. That's what you call mod capacity. And so it's going to cost a certain amount of numbers to be equipped on your Warframe or your weapon, depending upon what type of mod it is. And we're just segueing like crazy. We're just going to go straight into the arsenal, and I'm going to show you. So this is a relatively new frame of mine. I just got it yesterday. And one thing that I want to note with this is, say with a prime flow, the number that we just discussed is up here in the top right. It's a 14, and it's a dash. Notice I have a dash right here. So whenever I place it in like so, it's gonna divide the cost of that mod by 2. Odd numbers aren't going to level up. If I were to put rush in the same spot, watch what this does. instead of going down to an odd number like 11 is, it's just going to go down to 6. So, you know, half of 12 is 6. I just think to myself, whenever it's an odd number, round it up to an even number and then divide that by 2, and that's what you're going to get, and that's how I do my math. Now, you can add these little symbols here, and that's the use of forma. Of course, I'm not leveled up here, so let me just swap out to a Warframe that is leveled up so I can show you. Now, whenever you go in to put a forma in, first of all, you have to have a forma built, and we'll get into crafting here in a second. A forma is going to be called polarization, and you're going to polarize, you're going to add whatever symbol it is that you want. Same thing goes for reactors and catalysts. The only thing to know about reactors and catalysts is that reactors go on warframes and companions, while catalysts go on all weapons. So upgrading by putting in a reactor or a catalyst is going to increase your overall mod capacity from 30 to 60. That makes it so you don't have to put every single slot within your arsenal a symbol so that it'll all fit. I mean, you could do that if you have all the forma to spare, but it just takes a whole lot more time, and for you to be able to forma, you have to be level 30, and it will reset you all the way back to unranked, so that you'll have to level up again before you can put another forma in. Some things to note here are that with Warframes, you get an aura slot, and only recently did they add an Exilius, or I know I'm pronouncing this wrong, but I'm just going to call it a utility slot. I don't have it unlocked for Necros, but if I go back to the vault that I was showing you earlier, and I've clearly unlocked it, and Exilius, or however Exilius, however it's pronounced. Exilius mods are only containing this symbol at the very top. If it doesn't have this symbol, then you can't put it in this spot. So it's only mods like Brush, Enemy Sense, Heavy Impact, Intruder, Master Thief. It's pretty self-explanatory. If it has that symbol, you can whip it there. If it doesn't, you can't. There are another set of upgrades that work in a similar fashion, and this is your melee weapons. They come with stance mods. So what all these do, except for the utility mod slot, is they will add additional mod capacity. So if I want to go into build, build C. Now I start out with a mod capacity of 60 because I have an Orcan Catalyst installed. If I put up a Crimson Dervish and match it to that slot, notice how it goes up 10 points. Stance mods and aura mods will increase your mod capacity even if the symbols are not matching. So, for example, that's the only stance mod I have. Now, I have Sprint Boost installed on my Volt. But as you're going to see... Oh, I can't take it out. Okay, so Sprint Boost is a dash, whereas my Aura is clearly a check mark. We're going to put this in here, and it goes all the way up to 23. Now if I take that down, and I mismatch, it still goes up. See, if I take it out completely, it's at a 5. And when I mismatch it, it still goes up by 4 points. But one thing to note about mismatching actual mods over here is, see, it's not going to fit. A 14 is actually going to cost... okay, so Rage is a 9. We put it in a dash, and actually costs 2 points extra when we mismatch. So you can mismatch stance mods and you can mismatch aura mods, but you can't afford to mismatch the things that are here in the 8 slots right here. All my mods back up there before I move on. Alright, so we've covered fusion, we've covered modding, now we're going to get into foundries. So this is basically how you earn everything in the game, and when I say everything, I mean this game is completely free to play. There is no pay to win advantage. If anything, there's an event to win advantage. I mean, they drop event specific weapons, and they're not necessarily better than anything that you can get a hold of just by farming, but they do, you know, enhance your gameplay a significant amount. Now, say you had farmed the Bratton Prime. It's gonna come with Bratton Prime barrel, Bratton Prime stock, Bratton Prime receiver, and then you're gonna need your Orkin cells. Some of these here require circuits, nanospores, plastids, gallium, the works. You're getting a sense for what every blueprint essentially needs. And now this is what most of the weapons are gonna look like. This is dropped off of the Stalker. If it's a normal weapon, it usually doesn't even require other parts. It just requires the resources, like Hate does. It requires the Morphix, the Nanospores, the Ferrite, and the Salvage. Now you have to have these resources, obviously, to craft what you're after. And how you figure out where all of this drops is you just go into your navigation, and when you click on a planet, it will list all the different resources that this planet may drop. So you have your Morphix, Ferrite, Polymer Bundle, and Detonite Ampule, all dropping from Mercury. And different planets drop different resources. So Venus drops Alloy Plate, Polymer Bundle, Circuits, and Filderon Sample. While Jupiter will drop Salvage, Filderon Sample, Neural Sensors, and Alloy Plate. Some things that just aren't showing in some cases, like Argon Crystal. Argon Crystal is relatively difficult to get within a Tower 1 capture, or you know, even a Tower 4 exterminate. It mostly drops from the longer duration missions like defenses and survivals. So once you have all your resources, you can go ahead and craft whatever it is you're trying to build. So for the sake of this, I'm going to craft a Cosmic Spectre. I already have, you know, the loadout that I want my Spectre to use, and all a Spectre really is a projection of you, your player. You've basically gotten all the loadouts that you want for the Spectre to use, and it's going to be a holographic projection of you. I'm going to preserve the one. I'm going to click OK, and then when I tell it to do OK, it's going to take credits from me. And why, I don't know. It's the dumbest idea to me, because it's your foundry. You're putting your money into your own blacksmith spot. I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. However, that's another segue we need to make really soon, is credits. Credits are the number up in your top left. It's got the little 3 blue square, cyan, whatever color you want to call that. And then your platinum, which is your real money, is to the right of that. And how this works is you have starter platinum when you're fresh out the box, but you can't trade it with anyone. You can only use it to buy colors and things out of the market. So let's take a quick look here. Most of these colors that I have unlocked, they're gonna appear like this to you. And you can preview really all of them and customize your character how you want it to be customized, but you're gonna have to buy it. Other things in the market that I would consider more important would be things like, you know, an Orkin Reactor, an Orkin Catalyst, because those only tend to drop during live streams. And things like Forma, you're not going to be able to reach until later in the game. And with that being said, you're going to want to find a clan nearly immediately, even if it's somebody you just joined temporarily, because they're going to be able to taxi you to planets and missions that you don't already have unlocked. They're going to be able to help you get whatever. You know, if they're a good clan, they're really just going to help you get whatever you need. And so that you don't have to buy things like Forma. A Catalyst or a Reactor, they, like I said, they only drop during, you know, a live stream from Digital Extremes, the developers of this game. So in that case, I would stock up on these and just save them for a gun or a Warframe that you really prefer. And it really comes all down to preference. I mean, there are a lot of weapons that are just completely garbage, and you know, I'm sorry for people who are fans of these weapons, but they're not going to carry you into late game. Weapons like the Angstrom, it's like a rocket launcher pistol. The application of rockets coming out of a pistol is amazing, but in my personal experience, I've noticed that, you know, going long, like for a long point of time in a Tower 4 survival, the Angstrom is going to experience heavy fall-off damage, which basically means that you're not going to be doing the optimum amount of damage that you should be. You're not going to be killing things as quickly as you need to be, and you're going to suffer for that. You're either going to get downed and killed, or your team's going to have to pick up your slack. It's pretty ugly. Now, what you want to be concerned with being a noob in the game is getting your resources, getting as many Warframes and as many weapons as humanly possible, just experimenting, just playing the game, having fun, and not worrying about it until, you know, you feel as though you've unlocked all your planets, all your missions, and you're well experienced enough to where you can handle bigger threats. And once that happens, once those stars align, you can really start building your actual builds. And this is going to be a perfect segue into my actual God Build series, where I teach you a lot of these builds, these complex builds. What most uploaders will do is they will review one weapon, or they will review one Warframe. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what weapons combine really nicely with what Warframes. For instance, Valkyr and the Fragger. As a veteran of this game, a lot of people are going to say, Fragger? Really? Because Fragger doesn't put out a whole lot of damage, but in tangent with Valkyr's Warcry, this thing becomes a cannonball monstrosity. So I'm going to be teaching you a lot of these complex builds, what weapons go with what Warframes. But the first thing you have to be aware of is everything that I've told you previously. You gotta just want to get through the game and experiment as much as humanly possible. And possibly the most important thing to note for, you know, decently, you know, average players is max out these mods. Fuse them, get them maxed out, and get all the ones that you use maxed out. Every video that I'm going to release talking about God builds, I'm going to be essentially using some of the same mods, and some of the ones that are the most important are like your Vitality, your Steel Fiber, your Serration, because these are going to be for survivable purposes only. They're not going to have anything to do with putting out the most optimum amount of damage, and that's what you want to focus on. Being a new player, you're going to have broken mods, and how can you tell that it's a broken mod is it'll have a crack in the center of it, and eventually you'll start unlocking legit mods, and you'll want to fuse them as much as humanly possible. So I hope this has been informative, and like I said, I'm going to try to get this video out before my birthday ends, but you know, the magic of video editing can take quite a long time. I hope you guys have fun with Warframe, and if you want to check us out, we're called the Starcom Clan, and we'll be willing to help you out so long as you have Skype, and we're looking to do 8-player raids daily, So if you want to get in on that, you can contact me via my username on Warframe, AidenLives, AIDENLIVES, and just come hang out with us, and it's as simple as that. If you like this video, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good shenanigans. I'll talk to you later. Peace.